Hi there. We're having a little bit of trouble these days with some of the bands on our editing software. So we're going live because we might as well, otherwise it'll take forever for us to change to a new software and get some content out there for you. So let me make sure I'm looking at the camera. It's going to drive you crazy if I keep looking off in the other direction. Today, what I really wanted to go over is just to give you an update on what's been going on with the Whole Foods plant-based plan that I've done since about September. So that when this is being filmed, that's going to be about 3 months that I did it from the time I first started. If some of you are not aware, I started it because I was out with my dad at a time when he was having several procedures done on his heart because of coronary vessels or heart vessels that were blocked, and also because of a heart valve that wasn't working. And my dad's in his 80s, and I realized that's a nice long time to be able to live. But he has a long way to go. He still works out every week, and he and my mom walk every day, and but what I realized also is that my brother had a really severe heart condition also because of blocked heart vessels. So I know that genetically, if I continue to eat things with cholesterol, I am also at very high risk for those things, and for blocked vessels. And when you get blocked vessels, we're not just talking blocked vessels in your heart, we're talking blocked vessels in your brain, in your kidneys, liver, everywhere really. It really interferes with function of your body when blood flow is inhibited by narrow vessels or blocked vessels. So my thought at that time was I really needed to really get very strict with my diet when it came to cholesterol. My cholesterols at that time were running about 220, and my LDL was over 100. HDL, I think, was pretty moderate, maybe in the 60s. And my blood sugars were not bad. They were, I could get them pretty easily around 70 to 90, but below 100 most of the time, and really pretty good for blood sugars. So I did this. I made this switch to a whole foods plant-based program without any added oils or fats, without any sugars and with minimally processed foods, because some foods are still processed to some degree, and just to see how that would go for the next 3 months. And I did pretty well until Thanksgiving. And then I had company over for Thanksgiving, not even for Thanksgiving Day, but the week before. And we ended up making a roast chicken because it was 3 of us, and had some vegetables and things like that. So that was the first point at which I got off the no animal products portion of my whole foods plant-based diet. And that was just for one day. And then we went into Christmas, and during the Christmas holiday, I did some things. Let's see, at one point I bought some blue corn Doritos. And blue corn is really good because it's any of those really dark colored purplish blue kinds of fruits and vegetables can be very healthy because of some of the antioxidants in them. But in this case, these Doritos were also, they had added oil. So that was either canola or sunflower oil. And I did notice, that was about mid-December, and I did notice at that point that during the night that evening, I had terrible joint pain and muscle and body aches through that night, and had a really hard time sleeping because of it. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or not, but it was the first point at which I deviated and added some canola or sunflower oil with something, so something fried like that I had. And then into the Christmas holiday, we went and I got a couple of, what seemed like really nice dark chocolate candy bars that were given to me in my stocking. And they were delicious, by the way, but I really only ate two little sections, 1 to 2 little sections of those each day. But it was all in the 2 weeks leading up to having my blood rechecked. And so at the end of the year, I did have my blood rechecked, and my cholesterol had dropped from 220 to 198, but nowhere near what I was hoping for, which would have been 150 or less. Heart attacks and strokes are found in people whose cholesterol is even in the range of 200, which is supposed to be normal in the United States anyway. But when it comes to avoiding strokes and heart attacks and really causing inflammation to blood vessels, what we find is that when you can get it lower than 150, we see virtually very minimal, almost zero heart attacks and strokes in that range when people are running 150 or less for their cholesterol. In the United States, we say 200 is normal, but we do see about 30% of strokes and heart attacks still occur in people who are running right around 200 for their cholesterol. So I really don't want to be in that 30%. I really would like to, if I'm going to work at this hard, I really want to be below 150 for cholesterol. So I was a little disappointed with that, but my husband reminded me several times that that is actually very good. So my LDL, which had been above 100, was about 98, almost like the cholesterol, in this case, 98 instead of 198. And I'm aiming for 70 or below, and really I would like it to be 50 or below. So I have a ways to go on that. And my HDL was very good. Usually you can get HDL in the good range if you are eating plant foods and you are exercising, which I'm doing both of. But I really want to, HDL comes in both a bad version and a good version. And I didn't have the testing done to see how much of each of those versions I have. I just am still going to continue to work on whole foods plant-based, and maybe at some point in time I'll have them check how much of each of those versions of good and bad HDL that I have. But HDL, it can be protective if your cholesterol is high to some degree, but it doesn't prevent you from, if your cholesterol is running high and your HDL is high, it doesn't prevent you from having a heart attack or stroke. So I would maybe measure that more accurately next time. And the last one that I was a little bit disappointed was my blood sugar. So again, here I am eating these 2 candy bars, a little bit a day, that have cocoa butter and sugar in them, all leading up to the time of my blood tests. And my blood sugar was running with a hemoglobin A1C of 5.7, which is an average blood sugar of about 123, 125 range. And that was higher than I have been. And it could be those candy bars before the holidays or during the holidays, but it could also have been because I was adding calories to my diet in the form of maple syrup and honey and things like that. So I really will be backing off on any added sweeteners as much as possible, although I will continue the fruits and I will continue the nuts throughout this next 3 to 6 months before I have my blood tested again. And then we'll see how that's going as far as no added sugars and still allowing the nuts. I may actually, though, cut back on the amount of nuts that I have each day and really limit it to one serving, which comes out to about about a quarter cup of nuts a day, or 2 tablespoons of nut butter a day. And I tend to, because I use a lot of calories, I tend to add more nuts to my diet. So we'll see how that goes, keeping those things a little bit more limited in these next few months. Let me see, I had a few things written down, so yes, I want to go over a couple things that came up during this time period. I find that it's very hard, and I know that. And when I'm doing my videos, I know that it's very hard to do this in the real world because we live with people who have diets that are very different from this. It really is helpful if you just add a lot of vegetables to the daily plan of the whole family, because then you can just load your plate with as much vegetables as you want and not necessarily take the meat portion of the dinner. And so that's been really helpful. My husband and I will often do the vegetable and the side dishes together, and we both eat those. And then if he wants meat or extra, anything that has milk in it or things like that, then we go ahead and let him do that. I was also told, and I'm going to try to do this on the live videos a little bit, not say so many ums. I was told by my editor, that's a lot of editing that has to go on. So we will pause more instead of the ums, if possible. I found also that there is a great deal of social pressure for when you have somebody over as a guest or when you are going to somebody else's house, because so much of our life revolves around food, rather. And when somebody takes the time to make something for you, it's really hard to turn it down. And what I've been doing lately is when I go places with people and we're out, a lot of times I'll take something with me that I know I would like to eat and not necessarily buy something. I might take something with me that I can add water to, or maybe it's something like a dressing I can add to a salad that I get at a restaurant, and take my own tea and things like that. But when you go to somebody else's house, that's really hard. And I find more and more that I need to make it clear, a little bit more clear to my friends and my family that this is the way I'm eating, and just leave it at that. And hopefully they won't mind if I'm there socializing with them and drinking a cup of tea instead of having what they're having for dessert, or maybe I'm only taking the vegetables from the meal and not necessarily serving myself the meat portion of the meal, and not make it such a big deal, or make it so that people feel like I'm rejecting their gift to me, which is usually food. So those are the things that are really hard, that I find that really can derail this whole system of trying to eat whole foods plant-based, is when people tend to want to serve you something as almost like it's a gift, so that if you don't take it, it's almost like it's like you're rejecting their gift. And it shouldn't necessarily have to be that way, but I am still navigating that quite a bit. So we'll see how that goes as the months move forward, and I'm doing this more and more. I think, so just going forward, I don't consider any of these, I was, like I say, a little bit disappointed that my numbers were off, but I don't consider it a failure. And I think, just like I've always said, that when you're doing something like this, becoming more healthy is a lifetime project. It's not, you make a resolution and then by, the time that it's January, February, and you've gone off of it, then you're completely off track. I don't believe that at all. I think you just rework it a little and bring yourself back to the course that you want to be on and continue forward. This has been a very long-term process for me from the time I first started all of these things. And I would say it's been a 12 or 13-year process right now to get to the point that I am right now. So there's no possible way that it's something that I would expect people to get to in a month or two. It's a long-term process. You do a little bit at a time. You find one or two things that you want to work on, and that's what you work on. And you don't beat yourself up for the things that you can't do. So it's a very long-term process, and I want to just tell everybody that that's what we're doing now, and we're going forward with it in this year and making some changes. And hopefully our editing program will get up and running, and I'll learn to say fewer ums during my presentations. And as we do more and more of these live chats, I'm hoping that we'll see more and more of you online to ask questions, and maybe there are some things I can help you with in real time that we can move a few more people forward this year. So, okay, thank you everybody for listening, and I'll be on another live chat soon. Okay.